lovely, I promise. Just look me in the eyes and tell me, do I look like a bad pony?
Most of you probably remember Derpy's voice like this. Lively, bubbly, and cute. And if you're watching this video, you're probably aware of how her voice has changed and maybe how difficult it's been for me to keep it up.
My mom used to order cookies from them sometimes because they were so good. I always wanted to go there and try some of their pastries fresh out of the bakery, but I never had the chance to go. Plus, they have factory tours. Which I'm pretty sure TikTok will like.
You might or might not know that this is because I, her voice actor, have been transitioning as a female-to-male trans man and have been on testosterone for 8 years now. I've been approached by quite a few people who learned of my transition when they were young, and it helped them realize their own trans identities, and because of that, I want to share what my journey has been like for my voice, to educate and perhaps inspire other people, and to assure some fantastic news about Derpy's voice. For the past year, I've been doing transitional vocal coaching to help my voice sound more natural and hit higher and lower tones, and recently, I realized how well it's been working, because Derpy doesn't sound like she has a cold anymore.
Hello, I'm Derpy Hooves. I don't have a cold anymore.
So, to closely compare them, here's the original voice, the transition voice, and lastly, the vocal coaching voice.
Space whales? I've never even seen a normal whale before in the wild, but space whales? Well, you always seem to be having so much fun with it, and I think it would make me feel super smart if I could do it too, even just a little. Come on, let's get our bags and go to our hotel room. I'm starving.
So, sit back, relax, and I'll explain how I got here. It all started on Pony-chan, the brony image forum that was made as a place to go after 4chan got sick of the ponies. I was awkward there and got myself in a couple of disagreements over things I just didn't really understand at the time, but I spent enough time there to more or less get along otherwise and look out for any projects I could help on. There was a My Little Pony Abridged series in its infancy looking for voice actors, so I applied for a few ponies, including my idea of Derpy. When I came up with Derpy's voice, I wanted it to be similar to Duck from the anime Princess Tutu.
You don't think I'm weird?
I don't.
I can't believe it. No one's ever said that to me.
Mixed with the way Goku talks in Dragon Ball Z Abridged.
Hey Vegeta, we're friends now, right?
Fuck off.
The best.
So once Duck and Goku have a fusion dance, the result was this audition here, and my very first appearance as Derpy.
Bananas! And muffins! Banana muffins! That's like putting muffins and bananas together!
The result was a cute but goofy sounding voice, and that voice got me the role in the Abridged project. Unfortunately, the project wasn't very well received and it fell apart, but that is what got my foot in the door as a Derpy voice actor. I had started taking line requests and answering questions as Derpy, and made song covers and originals to show my experience in musical theater.
This time, Pony, I'll be muffin brew. This time, Pony, I'll be muffin brew. Hi there, I brought you a letter and a muffin. If I spread my wings far and fly with all my might, then who knows, maybe I'll touch the sky. Even the smallest star might one day shine bright. One day I'll kiss the ground goodbye.
It was among these line requests that people started asking about Dr. Hooves, and since I was close with someone who wanted to voice act and had a British accent, I was able to throw together a very first prototype of Dr. Hooves and assistant.
Wait, where am I exactly? The TARDIS didn't hit the split stream of the time warp till about 1.2 kiloweeks ago.
Hi!
Huh? Oh.
Hello there, mister. Wow, Whoa, your house kind of appeared out of nowhere.
No, this isn't a house, and, for the record, who are you, and how are you able to talk?
It was clunky and lacking accuracy because I didn't really know much about Doctor Who, but then I dove into it and realized that I had to do it justice, and thus the series you know now came into being.
Let's have a look around then. Trees are the same, birds are the same. A bit too sunny to be English weather. A bit primitive, perhaps. Wonder where I am, TARDIS getting all wonky like that. Well, best I try to fix it up then.
Hello there, mister. Wow, your house kind of appeared out of nowhere.
No, this isn't a house. Furthermore, you're talking. And you look like you're an equine of some sort. A pony? I think that's more interesting.
I am a pony, and you're a pony too, mister.
The series took off quickly and gained a pretty big following as we brought out more and more episodes and higher quality, until we were at a point where we even had our own original music scores. The shippers shipped, the theorists theorized, and to this day the series is still going. Perhaps not with as much of a strong presence these days, but there are still many loyal fans and people just now realizing we're still making episodes. The other thing that really blew up with the Derpy voice were my dubs of my Tumblr Ask blog, Love Struck Derpy, which I'm actually working on again thanks to donations. Love Struck Derpy was about what you'd expect from the title. It was about Derpy being madly in love with the Doctor, and all their silly shenanigans revolving around awkward feelings for one another. Anyways, back then, the way it blew up was beyond anything I'd done before, and there was a lot of pressure to keep it going. I had a lot of fun with it starting out, and was happy to do it, at first. I had also found myself as one of the most well-known Derpy fan voices. It's hard to find video essays about Derpy that don't feature at least a clip of my voice somewhere. If people didn't know, I was the voice in the Save Derpy animation where she's crying and reacting to her censorship, which was a very real and raw clip of myself having a breakdown over the heartbreak of losing something so special about Derpy, because by that point, Derpy was an icon for me as someone who had mental disabilities because she showed disabilities can still make someone lovable. I didn't expect that clip to blow up like it did, or that it was going to be animated and put to dramatic music. I'm conflicted about it because on the one hand it felt like it was making my real breakdown over dramatic, but at the same time, it seemed to be very effective in jerking people's emotions out. I recently saw a series of clips in a Derpy essay of so many bronies reacting to the video and crying with me, and it made me cry all over again because I was touched that I wasn't alone and that I'd made such an impact. I don't know if we would have gotten Derpy back if not for that video rallying people together to save her and bring her back to the show after a long absence since her censorship. I think we all did a good job at showing Hasbro she deserves to stay in the show. My time as a fan-favorite Derpy actor came with its blemishes, though. There are a lot of people out there who love Derpy so obsessively that they will do whatever it takes to get the Derpy content they want, constantly harassing me for more, making weird and uncomfortable requests, treating me like the character and not like my own person even when asking them to address me properly, making demands about how I should write her and who she should be shipped with, throwing a tantrum if I implied her in any kind of romance with anyone other than the Doctor, trying to befriend me only because they want to be friends with Derpy, or get Derpy content out of me. There were people harassing me, day in, day out. Where's Love Struck Derpy? Constantly making me want to do it less and less. People would ask me only 3 weeks after posting if I abandoned the series, and any time I would post work that didn't have anything to do with Derpy, people would just ask me where Derpy was, or when the next Derpy update will be. I have this whole thing where if I'm told to do something, my automatic response is to go, well, I'm not doing that then, due to my autism. So it just got harder and harder to feel any motivation to do anymore. I was, to a lot of people, just a Derpy content machine that was supposed to spit out a constant flow of Derpy goodness and nothing else. I once got so frustrated with these people that I released a fake part of the Love Struck Derpy dub, and it was just me ranting in Derpy's voice for most of it about how upset I was doing all this by myself and getting all these demands. So here's the clip, or part of it.
Hey, so I'm gonna make something perfectly clear because every time I post a video that isn't Lovestruck Derpy Dubs, I get a lot of comments like, where's next Derpy Dub? Where's next Lovestruck Derpy? Lovestruck Derpy! Lovestruck Derpy, please! I'm unsubscribing because you're not posting Lovestruck Derpy. Well, let me tell you a little something about Lovestruck Derpy. Originally, it was a side blog because I get stressed out and I thought, well, I'm just going to do a cute little blog, no stress, not going to worry too much about it. And I thought, well, I'll make it I'll make it an audio blog too because it's less work. But then people really like the audio, so I'm like, you know what, I'll dub it. It's not too hard. It's my own comic. But the demands got bigger, it got more popular, and I'm the only one editing these. So, you know, if you want Lovestruck Derpy Dubs at a rate that is as fast as the actual show, which has, you know, a team of multiple people working on it, you might want to look somewhere else because this is one person doing all the editing, all the art, all the writing, all the voice acting. Well, not all the voice acting. There's some other voice actors in there, but the directing of said voice actors, finding the voice actors, editing all the voice actor voices together, and going through all their multiple takes of lines, which can take hours on end because some of them take about 10 takes of one line. And let's see, I put in all the sound effects, and then I have to hunt down all the music to put into the videos, and I have to make the video itself once I get all that put together. I've worked at least 20 hours, give or take, on just one part, and some of these episodes go as long as pony episodes, so please have a little patience, okay? Because seriously, I have other projects, okay?
The entitlement was so bad that for a while I had grown to despise being Derpy, and had long since stopped taking requests and switched to Derpy Let's Plays instead. And even those faded over time because I wanted to focus on other projects and I wasn't having as much fun anymore. My love of Dr. Hooves' an Assistant kept me going with her, but I was done churning out Derpy voice content otherwise. This entire time, I had not figured out my trans identity yet. I was close to it in high school when I asked peers and teachers to call me Kevin, and was only just understanding transness. But I had an abusive ex who brainwashed me out of it and made me act and look more feminine and would throw a fit if I even tried to look like a tomboy. And while I was no longer with him when I played Derpy, that mindset was still stuck in my head. I only started really exploring my identity as a guy with an alternate secret account for another project that let me identify as a man with no questions asked. And it gave me a lot of euphoria and just felt right. Right enough that I eventually came out on a highly populated live stream and was met with overwhelming support. And so my journey as a self-identified trans man named Jack began. For the longest time, I had just socially transitioned because I didn't know how to get medical support in Florida or Illinois when I was living there. It wasn't until a dramatic move back to Oregon where I grew up that things could progress, but it was under the worst circumstances. In 2016, I had a psychotic episode, which meant I was delusional and all over the place. I have a video essay about my manic episodes on my Bald Dumber Rat channel, which I will link in the info where you can learn more details. But I'm keeping it short here. In my delusional state, I thought I was getting turned into a proper man by the doctors in the hospital, so the whole time I really pushed on wanting to transition. So I was set up with a clinic specializing in the LGBT plus community once I had come down from the mania, and that's how I started on testosterone. I had considered that I might lose Derpy's voice from this, but I knew I would try my best to keep practicing it. If I ended up losing the voice, I'd either need to end Dr. Hooves' an Assistant or find a new voice actor. My comfort in my own voice and body was more important to me than playing Derpy. My voice started cracking, and that was the sign that my second puberty started, and there was no going back from there. And that was fine. I'd rather be identified as Sir over the phone than have a silly cartoon voice. I started having trouble with higher-pitched noises, lost various creature calls that I could make, couldn't sing as well, but that was just a hurdle, and somehow, while it wasn't perfect, I could manage Derpy's voice enough that I felt comfortable trying to reprise my role, perhaps one more time at the very least. By that time, it had become almost impossible to produce new episodes of Dr. Who as an assistant, as much of the team has drifted over time, and I was doing the brunt of the work. And because I was nervous about Derpy's voice sounding strained, I made her role in episode 12 really minor so it wouldn't be obvious or grating.
Hold on, don't forget, we're all meeting back at 5:30 for the Belle of the Crop Cafe.
The series almost ended there until a new production team showed up to help, and we've been going strong since, but that also meant Derpy's voice would have to be featured more, and it was still struggling in a very obvious way. This is where the complaints really started. They were a minority, but some people really didn't like how she sounded anymore. At least one person even going so far as quitting the series on the false assumption that her voice had been pitch-shifted when it was a mic quality issue. People said she sounded stuffy and sick. That I felt hurt by this is an understatement, because people were actively throwing away an entire story because they hated my voice now. It was as if they didn't care about anything but Derpy, and my writing didn't matter. The hard work that went into these episodes didn't matter. The doctor didn't matter. Not the music or the art either. No, to these people, their precious Derpy isn't perfect, and that isn't worth putting up with. I've been objectified a lot as Derpy's voice actor, and the expectations people forced on me didn't feel fair. The fact that I was doing Derpy's voice at all was a big deal. Would people prefer I end the series just because Derpy sounds like she has a cold, or do they want a good story? I decided to keep going, though, because a small selection of bad opinions wasn't going to deter me from remastering my Derpy voice. I decided to also canonize Derpy's voice change to deter complaints, making a short about her getting into a TikTok experiment that messed up her voice. However, this short made sure to leave the possibility of her voice changing again, either from my own improvement or a new voice actor. After years of being on testosterone, I thought my voice would have smoothed out, but it never really did. No matter how I spoke, it felt and sounded strained, like there was permanent pressure on my throat, and like I didn't end up with anything close to an ideal voice. I felt like I was trapped, sounding like an annoying teenager forever. But then I got the idea that maybe I could get transitional vocal coaching, that maybe, just maybe, I needed help with my voice. You see, I've been looking into transitional vocal coaching since 2019, but as you all know, 2020 hit, and with it came the pandemic, so I lost the options I was looking into. Come the end of 2023, though, an opportunity finally revealed itself. The clinic that has been supporting my transition, including surgeries, sent me a text asking how I'd feel about having transitional vocal coaching covered, and of course, I gave an enthusiastic yes! A couple months later, they went through with the offer and offered to cover a comprehensive course of vocal coaching for anyone who was a patient of the clinic. And this brought me to Undead Voice Labs, which is a cool name, by the way. This is an online transitional vocal coaching where you unlock courses over time as you practice the tools they provide. I did the entry course to see what it was like, and I was impressed and determined enough to sign up for the whole program, which included access to the vocal coach to check in whenever, and get advice, and the community of voice transitioners as well, and of course, the full courses. And once you join, you're there for life. I won't say how much it cost me, just know that it was a lot, but I had that saved up for such things. I also got 50% off since I'm living in poverty, and they offer payment plans. Since then, I have been learning and practicing since the start of 2024. Not as much as I'd like to due to being stressed from a 6-month-long family emergency, but I recently observed that the training is working. I'll go ahead and show you how I get into the voices. Please be aware that I'm not giving instructions on how to do a warm-up, I'm just explaining how the warm-up works. I try to remember to do a warm-up each day, which has been harder to keep up with lately from all the stress I've been going through. Warm-ups involve a stretch and some vocalizations. I warm up both higher and lower voices. The important thing about doing this is you shouldn't be changing your pitch, because it's not actually the pitch that's important in making your voice sound deeper or higher. What you actually need to be doing is manipulating your throat in a way that activates thin folds for higher and thick folds for lower. This basically means how tight that part of the throat is will determine if you have bass or lift. The more tight, the deeper, and vice versa. I already did my warm-ups this morning, so I don't need to do it again, and I don't need to use a lot of tricks anymore to get into the voices. So here's just a little example of how I get into the voice without all the bells and whistles. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. When I use thick folds, or my chest voice, I can feel the vibration in my throat and chest as I speak. The deeper the voice, the stronger the vibrations. Sometimes I dip into it naturally without thinking, other times I need to make more of an effort, and it feels different depending on which is happening. When it happens naturally, it feels smooth in my airways. The deepest voiced character I play is my Kitsune Tumult, so here's an example of his voice. I just might be able to help your dreams come true. Why don't we make a deal? I sometimes like to test my voice out by singing the Over the Garden Wall theme song to see how much bass it has gained. Led through the mist, by the milk light of moon, all that was lost is revealed. Our long bygone burdens, mere echoes of the spring, but where have we come? And where shall we end? If dreams can't come true, then why not pretend? Thin folds and the head voice I can feel more in my nose, and when done right, there's a sort of emptiness feeling in my head that feels kind of freeing. The thin folds voice I was working with was alright, but I only recently found a way into my head voice after being unable to since transitioning.
Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And then there's the Derpy voice. Woo!
I think I've made good progress over the year, and while I would have been further along if big life events didn't occur, I can continue on to the next step. The course I had completed last was for making my voice sound sweet or stern, and the next course I unlocked, which I'm working on now, is about getting more emotional range, which was another thing my derpy voice was struggling with. My voice had gotten flat because I was constantly holding my voice at the highest I could go. With this training, I should have much more control of her voice, and who knows what other courses will help me do. I'm just excited that it's not hopeless to restore Derpy's voice back to as close as it can be to the original. It will probably never be the same, but I can still master it to a point where the acting will make up for it. I still have a lot to learn about my voice and what it's capable of, and it's hard to figure out where exactly to begin with it because it's so different than what I knew before. But I think I'm happy ultimately with how it's turned out so far. With enough practice, talking normally and acting won't ever have to feel like a strain again. Like I said before, I am working on more dubs of Lovestruck Derpy. The only thing that's taking me time right now is getting lines from other voice actors besides myself, and that's out of my control, so anyway. I am relieved to say that I no longer really have people harassing me for the content anymore, and the Derpy hype seems to have died down a lot. There are still some obsessive Derpy fans out there, but I think the most toxic people left because of my voice change anyways. I mostly just get approached by very polite fans who are excited to let me know how much my content meant to them in the past. And that's absolutely welcome. Thank you all for listening. I hope you learned something, and I want to say thank you for all your support in this journey. And to anyone out there who might be wondering if they might be trans, I wish you luck and hope you can find all the information you need.